Okay, so today we're talking about measuring line segments. And first thing to know is it talks about ruler A and ruler D. Okay? It's kind of a strange way of labeling it, but there's two rulers. There's ruler A, there's ruler D. Ruler A is where you're going to find your inches. Okay, when you do your actual measuring, you can use just one ruler as long as it has inches and centimeters on it. Okay, you don't have to use separate rulers for this. You will have to use separate sides of the ruler though. Okay, so your inches, we zoom in and turn the light on here. You can see the inches is the one that's bigger. It's up top. Centimeters are just really tiny. They're a lot smaller than inches are. Okay, so like this is a whole inch where from here to here, and then this is a centimeter. There's about 2.5 centimeters in an inch. So this ruler on this side is using inches, and if you look right down the page here in the book, all of these rulers, A, B, and C, these guys are all in inches. So you're going to have to measure each of these lines in inches, and you're also going to have to measure it in centimeters on the first two. So, just to clarify, again, inches, zoom right in here so we can really see. Okay. Okay, so an inch is this big here. It goes from here to here. Okay, that is 1 inch. Now all these little marks in between, like this one, equals a half. This mark makes a half an inch. Okay, so if I put 1 inch here, this one would be 1/2. No one should be holding anything right now to be making a noise with. Okay, so that makes 1/2. And then look, there's other little marks in here. Okay, so there's quarter. There's quarters, like these ones here. If we do it again, it breaks it up into quarters. So we have 1/4, 1/2, which also is the same as 2/4. Okay, because see 1 and 2, but it's the same as a half. And then here is going to be 3/4. Okay, could I get a thumbs up, a thumb sideways, or a thumbs down? If that's making sense, not making sense. Okay, Alright, thank you. So we can talk some more about that. Now, for these, it wants to know about how many inches. Alright, if it says about how many inches, you can go to the inch. You can round to the, oops, I'm circling something you can't see. You can round to the inch, or you can round to the half an inch for that. Okay, if you want. And this one, this is for ruler A here. Let me zoom it out so you can see. It's a little tricky because there's a lot of different parts to explain to this. Ruler B, it says definitely measure to the half an inch, so I want you guys, if you can, to measure it to a half an inch, if possible. But then the third one, the try this, says measure to the nearest 1/4 inch, which is what I just showed you in here. Okay? Now, what tends to trick students up sometimes is, let's say that the line is, this is, say the line is 2 inches long. I know it's 2 inches long about because I just drew it. And it says measure to the nearest half an inch. Okay, some students try to say, oh, I must have to write a half in there. No. You don't have to write a half in there. Okay, what it's asking is, it wants you to either tell this measurement, or this measurement, or this measurement, or this measurement. Okay? So, some students get confused because it says measure to the nearest half an inch. Well, that's easy. If the line was here, you know that's going to be 2 1/2 inches. Okay, that's a little sign for inch. That's going to be 2.5 inches. Alright? But if the line is only 2 inches long, don't write 2.5. Okay, don't write 1.5. If the line is 2 inches long, write 2. That is to the nearest half an inch. Okay? So I just wanted to clarify that for some of you because I know that can be confusing. So it would also be to the nearest quarter inch if it was just right on the 2. Okay, so just because it says measure it to the nearest half or nearest quarter, it does not mean there has to be a half or a quarter in the number that you write. That can be tricky sometimes, so I just want to point that out to you. Okay? But essentially what you're going to do is measure each of these in inches first. If I were you, would take my ruler, put it on, say, okay, how many inches is that? Well, this one, if we look at it together, okay, if we look at it together, it's kind of hard to see. Let's zoom right in on it. Okay, if we look at this line together, we see it's about 1, 2, 3, and look, it almost goes up to this next long mark, 3, and it's about 3 1/4. Okay, I would take 3. Okay, if you want to round it to the nearest inch for this first one to get warmed up, that's fine. I would take 3. But those of you who can really see this and are really getting into measurement, I would like to start seeing you go to some quarters. Okay? And I know it says nearest inch, but I'm telling you it's okay if you want to go to the nearest quarter of an inch. Okay? Usually if it said nearest inch, you would just go to the nearest whole inch. But I want you guys to get a little bit of practice with looking at those numbers in between the inch marks. So, you're going to see 3 different exercises to do. 1, 2, and 3. I want you to do all of those in inches first. Okay, I want you to do all of them in inches first. And then after that, I do not do anything with the centimeters yet. Okay, we're going to do that piece separately. So I want you just to focus on inches. Just focus on the ruler where it's spread out the most between the numbers. Okay, and then we're going to come back together for the second part of this lesson. Okay, are there any